You don't remember the exact moment it happened. There was no announcement, no warning. One day, you were just a child. And the next, you were watching everything. Watching moods, watching tone, watching silence. You learned early that safety wasn't guaranteed, it had to be managed. This constant scanning of your environment became second nature, a quiet hum beneath the surface of your childhood. You became an expert at reading the room, not for fun, but for survival. You knew the subtle shift in a person's breathing, the slight tightening around their eyes, the way the air grew heavy before a storm. These were your cues, your signals, your unspoken language. You learned that love and safety were conditional, things that had to be maintained through your own efforts. People called you mature, responsible, wise beyond your years. But no one asked what it cost you, because maturity isn't supposed to feel like fear, and responsibility isn't supposed to live in a child's body. You didn't grow up fast because you wanted to. You grew up fast because someone had to hold the world together. While other kids were learning to play, you were learning to parent. You were the one who remembered birthdays when others forgot, the one who mediated arguments, the one who quietly cleaned up messes, both literal and emotional. You became the anchor in a sea you didn't create. The compliments about your maturity always felt strange, like they were praising a wound. They saw a strong, capable child, but they didn't see the little person underneath, wishing they could just be a kid. So you learned a skill that saved you. You learned how to disappear without leaving the room. You smiled instead of crying. You listened instead of speaking. You became useful. Because usefulness felt safer than need, you made yourself small, easy, agreeable. Your needs were an inconvenience, so you tucked them away. Your feelings were a burden, so you swallowed them whole. You became a chameleon, adapting your colors to match whatever was required of you. Need help, you're there. Need a listener, your ears are open. But when the time came for you to need something, you fell silent. It was a masterful performance of self-sufficiency, a magic trick where the magician's greatest act was making their own heart vanish. And now you're grown, but your nervous system never got the memo. You don't rest, you collapse. You don't relax, you wait. You don't receive love, you earn it. Calm feels unfamiliar, joy feels suspicious. And being taken care of feels like a debt you'll have to repay. Your body is still braced for an impact that happened decades ago. A quiet evening feels like the calm before the storm. A genuine compliment feels like a setup for a future demand. You're always waiting for the other shoe to drop because, in your experience, it always has. People tell you to relax, but for you, relaxing means letting your guard down, and letting your guard down has never been safe. So you live in a state of perpetual readiness. This hypervigilance, this deep-seated belief that you must manage everything and everyone, isn't just a personality trait, it's a trauma response. It's your brain's way of trying to protect you from being hurt again. It's what happens when a child's world feels unpredictable and they have to become the predictable, stable force within it. Your mind is constantly running what-if scenarios, trying to anticipate every possible outcome so you're never caught off guard. This constant state of alert is exhausting. It drains your energy, steals your joy, and keeps you from ever truly feeling present in your own life. You're so busy preparing for a potential future threat that you miss the peace available to you in the now. The first step toward healing is recognizing that this isn't your fault. You developed these coping mechanisms to survive an environment that was too much for a child to handle. You did what you had to do. Naming it hypervigilance, emotional parentification, childhood emotional neglect, gives you power. It moves it from being an invisible, shameful part of who you are to being a recognizable pattern that you can begin to address. It's not a character flaw. It's a survival strategy that has outlived its usefulness. You don't have to be the silent manager of everyone else's world anymore. You can start to build a world of your own, one where you are the priority. So, how do you teach a nervous system that has been on high alert for decades how to stand down? It starts small. It starts with mindfulness. Not just sitting on a cushion and meditating, but paying attention to the moments when you are truly safe. Right now, in this moment, are you okay? Look around. Feel the chair beneath you. Notice your breath. You're not back there. You're here. This practice, repeated over and over, begins to create new neural pathways. It's like gently telling your inner guard, "Thank you for your service. I can take it from here. You can rest now." It won't happen overnight. Some days, the guard will jump right back on duty at the slightest noise. And that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's practice. Another crucial piece is learning to identify and honor your own needs. For so long, you've been an expert on what everyone else needs. Now, it's time to turn that focus inward. Start by asking yourself simple questions. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Do I need a moment of quiet? At first, the answer might be silence. You might not know what you need. That's normal. You've been disconnected from that part of yourself for a long time. Be patient. Try things. Maybe a walk helps. Maybe listening to a certain song helps. Maybe just sitting with a cup of tea is what you need. It's a process of rediscovery, of getting to know the person you are underneath all the layers of responsibility and self-sacrifice. You are learning to hear your own voice again. It's also vital to understand that receiving care is not a transaction. When someone offers you help, a compliment, or a moment of kindness, your instinct might be to calculate the cost. What will they want in return? True care doesn't come with an invoice. Learning to receive is a radical act for someone who has only ever known how to give. Start small here, too. When someone offers to carry your bag, let them. When someone says something nice, simply say thank you without deflecting or minimizing it. Each time you allow yourself to be cared for without feeling the need to immediately repay it, you are rewriting an old, painful story. You are teaching yourself that you are worthy of love and support, just as you are, without having to earn it. If this resonates with you, know that you are not alone. So many of us are walking around with these invisible wounds from childhood. We are the responsible ones, the old souls, the ones who hold it all together. But we deserve rest, we deserve peace, we deserve to feel safe in our own bodies. If these patterns are deeply affecting your life, your relationships, and your well-being, seeking support from a trauma-informed therapist can be life-changing. They can provide you with tools and a safe space to process these experiences. Reclaiming your childhood isn't about going back in time. It's about giving the adult you are today the safety, peace, and unconditional love you always deserved. They call you strong, but what if that strength was never your nature? What if it was just armor? You see, when you grow up too fast, you don't learn how to soften. You learn how to survive. And survival is a loud, demanding guest inside your body. It's the constant tension in your chest, the way your jaw locks without you even noticing. It's that feeling of always bracing for impact, even when there's no threat in sight. You're always on edge, even when things are safe. Your body just remembers that. It keeps you on high alert, scanning the horizon for danger that isn't coming anymore. This constant state of readiness, this hypervigilance, it's exhausting. It drains your energy, steals your peace, and keeps you disconnected from the present moment. You might feel a sense of pride in this strength, this resilience. People admire it. They tell you how amazing you are for handling so much. But deep down, you know the cost. It's a heavy weight to carry, this armor. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to consider setting it down. What would it feel like to finally exhale, to let your shoulders drop, to release that tension you've been holding for years, maybe even decades? That first moment of release can be terrifying, but it's also the first step toward freedom. So, where does healing actually begin? We're often told it's about fixing what's broken, about building ourselves back up, but that's not quite right. Real healing, the kind that lasts, doesn't start with fixing, it starts with grief. It begins with mourning for the parts of you that were lost along the way. Grief for the little child who desperately needed to be held and comforted but was told to be quiet and tough. Grief for the young girl who was praised for being so mature and responsible, when what she really needed was protection and guidance. Grief for the version of you who internalized the painful lesson that love isn't a given, that it's something you have to earn through performance, through being good, through being perfect. This grief is not a detour, it is the path. It will ask you to sit with the feelings you've spent your entire life running from. The sadness, the anger, the profound loneliness. It will ask you to finally allow the tears that you've held back for so long. Not a dramatic, Hollywood-style breakdown, but a quiet, natural release. The kind of tears that fall without you even trying to stop them, because they've been waiting beneath the surface all this time. And in that moment, when you let them fall, you're not breaking down, you're breaking open. You're finally giving a voice to the pain that has been silent for too long. There is a hard but empowering truth you need to hear. No one is coming to save that child inside you. And at first, that might sound cruel, like another form of abandonment. But I want you to reframe it. It's not cruelty, it's power. It's the ultimate reclamation of your own story. Because the one who is coming to save that child is you, the adult you are today. You are the one with the resources, the wisdom, and the compassion to go back and give that younger self everything she never received. This is what we call reparenting. It's you showing up for you. You get to be the warm, steady presence that was missing. You get to look that inner child in the eyes and say all the things she needed to hear. You get to say, it wasn't your fault. You were just a kid. You get to say, you don't have to earn your rest. It's okay to be tired. And most importantly, you get to say, you are allowed to have needs. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to be messy and imperfect. Imagine wrapping yourself in a warm blanket, creating a cocoon of safety, a space where you can finally feel secure. That's what reparenting feels like. It's a conscious, deliberate act of giving yourself the love, acceptance, and safety you always deserved. It is you becoming your own hero. Growing up too fast, being forced into a role you weren't ready for, it stole your childhood. That is a fact, a loss that you are right to grieve. But here's the crucial part, it does not get to steal your future. The past shaped you, but it does not have to define the rest of your life. You have a choice. The survival mechanisms that got you here, the armor of strength, the hyper-independence they served their purpose. You can thank them for keeping you safe, and then you can gently let them go. You don't have to be strong anymore, not in that rigid, unyielding way. The pressure is off, now, you get to be real. You get to be messy, you get to be vulnerable, you get to have bad days and ask for a hug. You get to be uncertain and figure things out as you go. You get to be human. And choosing to be real, to show up as your authentic self after a lifetime of wearing a mask, that is the bravest, most courageous thing you will ever do. It's more terrifying than any external challenge you've ever faced, but it's also where your true life begins. It's stepping out of the shadows and into the sunlight, taking a deep breath, and feeling the warmth on your skin for what feels like the very first time. Let's be clear about one thing, you were never broken. Your reactions, your defenses, your strength, it was all a brilliant strategy for survival. You were adapting to an environment that demanded it. A child who learns to be quiet to avoid anger isn't broken, they're intelligent. A teenager who becomes fiercely independent because no one is reliable isn't broken. They're resourceful. You did what you had to do to get through. You were adapting. And now, that phase of your life is over. The adaptation that was once necessary might now be holding you back, keeping you small, preventing you from experiencing true connection and joy. The beautiful news is that you can adapt again. You can learn new ways of being. You can learn to trust, to soften, to receive. The threat has passed, and now, you are finally allowed to live. Not just survive, but truly, fully, and freely live. You were just a child. And now you're free. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more on this journey of healing.